YouTube, how's it going? Red Baron flying at you with yet another video. Today, we're going to be talking about the elephant in the room. Well, it's been the elephant in the room for quite a long time, but I'm getting down and dirty, and I'm here to tell you a very unpopular opinion about this card. This should be a 3 of in any and all of your decks. It needs to be in all of them. All of them. What? But why? Why, Baron? Why doesn't it be in all of them? It's such a complicated card. We don't know how to use it. It's scary. We're just gonna leave it in the junk pile. No. I'm here to tell you exactly why this card is good and why you need to have it in every single one of your decks. All right. So starting off, we're gonna start off with the basic cards that that Gordon Gaze impacts, and from there we'll get to the nice juicy stuff. So first we have cards like Raceris and Scarlet. So Raceris says when your opponent can't attack on the first turn if it's not equipped with a thunder element spirit. So of course a lot of the more professional players, a lot of more experienced players will add thunder into their spirit deck to prevent something like this from happening and just attack over the Raceris. But in case you don't have a thunder element, what are you going to do? You can GG it. You can GG this Vicerus and its effect won't activate, and you can just attack straight over it. It depends on the push, depends on the play, but it is an option. And then we look at Scarlet. Scarlet's effect is a cost effect. When your opponent, when you expend a wind element, spirit, excuse me, you can change your opponent's non-wind enchanted Elestral to defensive attack mode. You can change their mode. This is great. This one is a really good card. It's seeing a lot of side deck action because it just gets over a lot of things. It'll get over a Sonic Core. It goes over Blazers. A lot of things that have a high attack, low defense. It'll just target it and then just destroy it. Now let's move into Timber. Timber is a card that when you equip it with an artifact and you destroy a creature, Elestral, I don't know why I keep on saying creature, it's destroy an Elestral, you get to upgrade it to its 3 cost Elestral version, Centaur. You get to go to Centaur with this, but on the destruction, you can activate GG. Now GG, this is great. So everybody needs to know, all the effects, any destruction effects happen on the field. So what does that mean? You can still target it when a card leaves the field if it has an effect that's supposed to be on the field. So say Turbo, they try to attack. They try to activate the effect. You can GG it to prevent it from going to Centaur and then try to get over it next turn. Try to find an answer for it. So the next one here is a card that hasn't really seen any play because it hasn't had any support for it yet. But we're looking at Chillato. Chillato, when it gets into the battlefield, you can target 2 of your opponent's face downs, and they can't activate those cards. So in response to that, you can GG it and prevent its effect from happening. But more cases not. I'm not sure if you want to do this. Depends on your other. If the cards that it's targeting are very important and you'll need them. But I mean, of course, if you're just using fakes in your back row, then it doesn't really matter. So you just shouldn't activate it. But anyways, let's start getting to the juicier things like Nexusing. GG will stop any and all your Nexus problems. But first, before we go into, I need to make sure you all understand something. Nexus Elestrals have 2 effects. Yes, they have 2 effects. The first effect is the Nexus. That is its own standalone effect. The second sentence is when this happens, therefore this is a secondary effect. When this happens, X happens. You destroy a back row, you destroy a creature, you destroy an Elestral on the field. You look at your opponent's hand, you see a card. This will stop that effect. So you can either activate it at the first effect during the Nexus to prevent the Nexus itself, or you can activate GG on the second effect, which is to negate what I previously just said. So let's look at all the Nexuses. We'll start from the weaker ones. I'm sorry, Johnny, but Exaltair isn't one of the strongest currently. Sure, it has the damages, but it's I don't know what to say. It just doesn't fit in the tempo right now. But we're looking at Exaltar and Afros. Currently, they're strong, but in the current meta, they're not that strong. They're not seeing any play. So, actually, it sounds very counterintuitive to do this, especially with Exaltar effect. Exaltar effect, which is a Nexus, and then your opponent takes 2 damage. So your opponent's just going to take 2 damage to activate GG. But what I say to that is GG also stops attacks. So, I mean, I guess it'll stop that attack. But, I mean, you'll have these scenarios where it's like, I shouldn't GG here because I'll just lose out. That's up to you to decide. But then you have cards like Afros where you just kind of like, you want to stop the GG. You'll take 2 damage to prevent your opponent from drawing 2 cards because hand advantage is good advantage. And you want to stop that from happening. Oh, then we have Sparkit, Kidleo, and Inkwlinks. All 3 are seeing meta play right now. Very strong. Sparkit, very good for Thunder. Whenever it nexus it, when you use this effect to nexus onto it, you look at your opponent's hand and discard a card. Not only do you get hand knowledge, you get to discard any of their cards, which is very strong. You can just stop that from happening by GG. Just like, no. And then you have Kidleo in all the fire decks. It's probably it is the strongest Nexus Celestial right now. It is the push card. It is the one card that says, I'm here, something's about to blow up. Because whenever its next effect goes off, it gets to destroy any Elestral on the field. So, this is good. A GG target. It's a great GG target because most of the times your opponent's going to play Hephaestus. You're like, okay, Hephaestus. And then we're like, Kidleo. You're like, okay, I know what's coming. And then we're like, I tried to Nexus onto Kidleo. And you're like, GG. Nope. And you're like, okay. And then you stop it. Then they're stuck with a 3/3/1 Kidleo. And you're just like, they're just going to sit there with a face like, shucks. Well, yeah. That's what's going to happen. But I will say this, though. When you GG is also important. Like, you might be thinking, well, isn't it the same thing, Baron? If you just GG at the very beginning compared to the second effect? No, it's actually not. So take this for example. Say your opponent has one enchanted Hephaestus on the field. And then they summon the Kidleo. And then use the effect to Nexus Hephaestus, the one remaining on Hephaestus, to Kidleo. Are you really going to stop the destruction of Hephaestus? Do you really want to? No. You're going to let them Nexus. You let them Nexus. And then after that, you're going to just prevent the secondary effect of Kidleo. That is the best way to deal with that. So that's something to think about when... Yes, so that's something to think about, is the timing of GG. Most often, you might want to make them waste the spirit. Because when it comes in terms of a 3/1 Kidleo, you could just attack over that next turn if you're just stopping its effect, stopping its attack. It doesn't really matter. So just make them waste that extra spirit off of Hephaestus. And don't activate GG during the Nexus stage. Activate during the secondary effect stage. Same thing with Inkwlinks. Inkwlinks will try to blow up your back row. You can just GG it. And make them waste something off of Demeter. Demeter has... The more spirits you can get off Demeter is actually really good. Because that means that's less spirits that they have to target your creatures. Or target their own creatures to give them a buff. But anyways, let's move on. Let's move on to the healers. So we have 2 healers currently. We have Quackle and Sluggle. Quackle and Sluggle do the same thing, different elements. Sluggle is a water elemental that'll heal for 3 of its element, and Quackle is a thunder which does the same. So Quackle doesn't see much play, but Sluggle sees a lot of play in water decks because they like to just tank it out and just try to survive. So you can prevent that with GG. Yeah, that's a great target for GG. They try to heal, you're like, no. And they're just stuck there with like a 2/2 on the field. What are they gonna do with that? Nothing. So now we're getting to the nitty gritty, to the feels bad card. This is my feels bad section that I've created. So we're coming out with 2 cards, Techtaro and Vicerus. Feels bad for them because what happens is they just blow themselves up. So what happens when you use GG during combat? So before I go into this, I need to let everyone know GG or combat has 2, I repeat, 2 instances where you can activate GG. You have the attack declaration period, which is the very beginning. You're like, okay, so my Techtaro is fully equipped. It's a 11-2 something or another, and it's going to attack your Sorlet. You're like, ah, crud. But you can either, if you activate it at the attack declaration, all it does is stop the attack. But during the second, there's an instance after attack declaration and before damage calculation where your opponent can't stop their attack. So if you allow their attack declaration to go through and then you're like, after attack declaration, I'm going to GG your Techtaro. Now what happens is GG will activate and will negate Techtaro' effect, now reverting it back to a 3-2 that can no longer stop its attack. It can no longer stop its attack during this stage. So their 3-2 Techtaro is just going to crash into your 5-1 Sorlet. And they're just going to neg. Because all those resources they put on Techtaro just went poof. And the same thing goes with Vicerus as well. Vicerus. I mean, they're literally the same card, do different elements. So let's look at these other very feels bad cards. We have Galaxia and Mustation. Now Galaxia will swap its attack and defense. But same thing. GG after attack declaration, you let the attack declaration go through, then you GG right before damage calculations, and that Galaxia will revert back to its base stats. Same thing with Mustation. It just feels worse with Mustation because with Mustation, your opponent will expend 1 to swap its stats, and then after that attack declaration, you're going to GG it, and it's going to revert back to a 1-6. Oh man. I can't tell you how good that feels. I've done it once. Your opponent puts so much resources into it, and then after attack declaration, just using GG, and they just crash. It's like you're playing a shield, but better, because they get rid of it. And let's look at the really, really feel bad cards. Let's look at BoomBat and Foamy. So BoomBat and Foamy, like as I noted earlier, destruction effects happen on the field, or any effects that happen on the field stay on the field. So what happens with BoomBat and Foamy? BoomBat, when it tries to activate its effect, it will sacrifice itself. But after it sacrifices itself, its lingering effect on the field. So what happens? You can GG that effect, and the BoomBat still dies. That's right. That BoomBat will just go straight to the graveyard. They can't do anything. So they've wasted their whole turn BoomBatting. And also Foamy. If you destroy a Foamy and they try to activate its effect, you can GG it. And prevent them from special summoning anything else. Prevent them from special summoning that Sluggle. Which a lot of players will do. Foamy into Sluggle. It heals. It's great. So, and then the biggest thing, well, one of the biggest things is the Hydra Twindra Pantera combo. So you have Hydra. One of the main ways people like to go into Pantera is just crash. They'll summon their Hydrake, crash into one of your creatures, summon their Twindrake, try to crash again to summon their Pantera. But what you can do is just GG the effect, and they won't get it. Now, if you're playing this deck, what you should do is just ignore the Hydrake. Let them summon the Twindra. Let them expend those 2 extra spirits. And when their Twindra dies off of crashing with you, you just activate it. And then they don't get their Pantera. And then they've wasted 3 spirits to your 2 to summon something. that no longer has relevance. It's great. It's a good feeling. You should try it. So, not only does this card stop attacks, can be used during battle and right before damage calculations to mess up your opponent. This is a great card for the counter meta. So what are we afraid of right now? What are the top 2 decks right now? We're looking at Tempest and we're looking at Mono Earth. So let's look at Tempest. What are we, obviously we're afraid of Tempest. If Tempest just hits the field, then it's just sitting pretty, tries to nuke you each turn for 3. But what are you gonna do that? You're just gonna GG the Griffuse. If you're running 3 in every deck, you don't have you're not really worried. You just draw your 1 GG and just wait for them to try to go off. You're just holding that GG for the long time. And then if you GG the Griffuse, then they're just sitting there with a 5 stat Griffuse, which you can easily get over. You can also, if you're sure that they don't have a Zeus in hand and they try to play Elichik, which allows them to get any divine rune from their deck to their hand, you just GG it. It's simple, right? You just stop their plays before it happens. And then Astrabbit. Astrabbit, it's up to you. Astrabbit is very good, but it's more like with its 5 defense, it's really hard to get over. So I would GG it if you have a plan on next turn to get over it, but it's very situational. Let's look at the Mono Earth deck. What are we scared of? We're scared of Vicerus. So Vicerus, whenever it destroys a creature, it allows it to special summon 1 more from the deck in defense mode. GG will stop that. Or you just stop the attack. In general, just stop the Raceris attack. It's great. You're also looking at Rummagem. I would GG a Rummagem. Rummagem prevents your opponent from having tempo. If you GG the Rummagem, they no longer have tempo, because what they do is they have hand tempo. They have a lot of things in their hand, a lot of resources, and if you just stop it, then they just will fall behind. Another less common one is probably Drataya. Drataya, you see a lot of fruit decks around there that use Ambrosias. And if they try to Ambrosia while they have a Drataya on the field and you GG it, all they get is the spirits. They won't get the draw. So definitely worth using. So as we're going on, we come to the Tempest players. Tempest players, if you're not playing this card, what are you doing actually? So let's look at Dan's favorite phrase when looking at how to beat Tempest. His out is Pigist plus X. X being any other card. It could be Laurels, could be Earthquake, Kinleo. Pigist plus X. Just to get rid of the back row. But you know what, Tempest players? If you have GG, you know what's not happening? Pigist ain't happening. So, if you're playing Tempest, you just sit. You're playing Tempest, then you put that GG in the back row. You're scared of nothing. You really aren't. What are you scared of now? You're afraid of a tsunami for Takwa? No, you're not scared of that. What are they gonna do? They're gonna try to attack you during combat with the Vitakwa, and you'll be like, no, I'm just going to GG it. Better yet, all Tempest players should be running Altar of the Stars anyways. Altar of the Stars will change the battle position of your Tempest back to attack mode, and their Vitakwa will just crash. So you're not scared. And even if they have Tsunami, what do they have that can get over 10 defense? What do they have? Let me know. Unless they have a fully buffed Volcaris or Techtaros, they got nothing. They really have nothing. Well, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. GG in every deck. It needs to be there. And you're probably thinking, what do I take out? Honestly, I think you take out Shield. Shield is after the nerf. It's I don't know. I just like GG better. GG is more flexible than Shield. Shield bounces, gets rid of one problem, but like this stops everything. GG will stop all your opponent's tempo pushes. It is more flexible than shield, and you can have your shield. You can have one shield. Like most of the times when players are building their decks, they're getting a lot of 3-ofs. They have one remaining. Just put the shield in there, and then you put the other 2 in your side deck. So for when you go against Full Tempest, you could have the 3 shields in, and you can take out the 2 of the tsunamis, because tsunami's not gonna have an effect on Full Tempest. Full Tempest doesn't care about tsunami. It really doesn't. Everybody's saying the Full Tempest will carry. No one cares. The Full Tempest players are just sitting back like, I'm sitting on my 10 booty. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing. Nothing. I think we'll be like, I'm also sitting back on my GGs. Because GG. So that's it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned a few things. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button and subscribe button. Now, I'll see you later. Peace.